Picture a cold morning. You step out of bed onto the bathroom floor, and it is warm, not freezing tile, warm, gently heated from underneath. That feeling, a warm floor on a cold day, is one of the oldest luxuries on earth. The Romans had it 2,000 years ago. Not a fireplace, not a stove, a genuinely heated floor and warm walls in a building with no fire burning inside the room at all. They called it the Hypocaust, Greek for heated from below. And here is the part that gets me. It is essentially the same idea as the underfloor heating people pay a premium for today. 2,000 years ago, a Roman could walk barefoot across a warm marble floor in the middle of winter in a room with clean, smokeless air, heated evenly from the ground up, while most of the world heated a single room with an open, smoky fire for the next 1,500 years. The Romans had already solved it. So in this video, the problem they were really trying to fix, how the Hypocaust physically worked, why it was genius, how it was forgotten for over a millennium, and how it quietly came back into your house. Let us heat the floor. To see why the Hypocaust is clever, you have to understand how everyone else heated a room for almost all of human history. You build a fire inside, in the room with you, a hearth, a brazier, an open flame, and it works sort of, but it is a mess. The fire heats the air right around it, so you are roasting on one side and freezing on the other. It eats the oxygen. And worst of all, smoke. An open fire indoors fills the room with smoke and soot. You are basically choosing between freezing and breathing. For a normal house, you tolerate it. But the Romans had a place where that simply would not do. The bathhouse, the thermae. Romans were obsessed with bathing. Hot rooms, warm rooms, steam rooms, all open to the public. You cannot fill a luxury bathhouse with choking wood smoke, and you cannot heat a big stone room evenly with one fire in the corner. They needed heat everywhere, all the time, with clean air. So a Roman engineer asked a different question. Not how do I put a better fire in the room, but how do I heat the room without putting any fire in it at all? Move the fire outside, heat the building itself, and let the building warm the people. That single flip is the whole invention. Here is how it actually works, and it is beautifully simple. Start with the floor. The Romans built the real floor of the room, the one you walk on, thick concrete and marble, and then they raised it up off the ground, sitting it on top of hundreds of little brick pillars, each about half a meter to a meter tall. Rows and rows of them, like a stone forest holding up the floor. They called those pillars the pile, and the raised floor the suspensora, the suspended floor. So underneath the room there is now a low, empty, hollow space, a basement full of pillars. Next, the furnace. Outside the room, or down in the cellar, a fire burns in a furnace called the praefurnium, tended by slaves who feed it wood day and night. The hot air and smoke from that fire pour out of the furnace and straight into that hollow space under the floor, wrapping around every one of those little pillars, heating the entire underside of the floor at once. Now the clever last piece. Inside the walls, the Romans built hollow clay box tiles called tubulae, stacked into vertical pipes running up inside the walls. The hot gas under the floor rises up through those wall pipes, heating the walls on its way, and finally escapes as smoke out. Quick one. If a 2,000-year-old heated floor is impressing you as much as it impresses me, that is the whole channel. Subscribe, and the next everyday thing in your home gets the same treatment. Okay, so why is the Hypocaust genius and not just a clever trick? Because of what kind of heat it makes. A fire in the corner heats the air, and hot air is a terrible, uneven way to warm a room. The Hypocaust does something different. It turns the entire floor and the walls into one giant, gentle radiator. That is radiant heat. Warm surfaces heat you and the objects around you directly, not just the air. It is comfortable. It warms from the feet up, exactly the way modern heating experts say a room should be warmed. The Romans tuned it too. The hottest room, the caldarium, sat closest to the furnace. Cooler rooms sat further away, a heating system with zones 2,000 years before a thermostat. It is even credited to a specific man, Sergius Orata, a Roman businessman around 95 BC, who reportedly used the technology to heat bath pools and to farm oysters in warm water. He was not a scientist, he was an entrepreneur who saw that controlled heat could be sold. So if the Romans had clean, even luxurious central heating 2,000 years ago, why did your great-grandparents shiver next to a fireplace? Because the Hypocaust died with Rome. It was expensive. It needed a lot of fuel. constant skilled attention, and frankly, a lot of slave labor to keep those furnaces burning. It made sense for a wealthy empire with public baths and grand viols. When the Western Roman Empire fell apart, that whole support system went with it. The knowledge faded. For the next 1,000+ years, most of Europe went backwards, back to the open hearth, then the fireplace and chimney, heating one room smokily at a time. The grand idea of heating a whole building from beneath its floor was essentially forgotten in the West. It is the same pattern we keep finding. A deep idea, invented once in antiquity, then lost, sitting in ruins for over 1,000 years. Interestingly, the idea did not vanish everywhere. On the other side of the world, Korea developed its own underfloor heating, the ondol, completely independently, and never stopped using it. But in Europe, the Roman warm floor became a buried archaeological curiosity. People walked over the ruins of heated floors without realizing what they were standing. Now look down at a modern heated floor, and you are looking at the Hypocaust reborn. Modern underfloor heating comes in two flavors. The common one is hydronic. Instead of hot smoke, you run a network of thin pipes full of warm water back and forth under the floor. The water heats the floor heats the room. Radiant heat from the whole surface, exactly like the Roman version, just with warm water doing the job the furnace gases used to do, and no smoke to vent. The other is electric, a mat of heating wire under the tiles, the kind that warms your bathroom floor on a winter morning. Different fuel, identical idea. Heat the floor, make the floor a giant low temperature radiator, and let the building warm the person. We even rediscovered the things the Romans knew by instinct, that radiant floor heat is more even and more comfortable than blasting hot air, that warming from the feet up feels better, that a warm surface beats a hot draft. Architects today talk about radiant heating like it is a sophisticated modern comfort technology, and it is. It is also 2,000 years old. The premium feature in a new luxury bathroom is mechanical. Here is what I love about the warm floor. The deep idea underneath it is so simple, it sounds obvious once you hear it. Do not heat the air. Heat the room itself and let the room heat you gently, evenly, from a big warm surface. The Romans worked that out by hand with bricks and fire and clay pipes and no theory of thermodynamics to guide them. They just watched how heat moved and engineered around it. And the original mostly crumbled. The bathhouses fell, the furnaces went cold, the floors collapsed onto the little pillars that held them up. But the idea did not die. It was forgotten, then rediscovered, and now it is humming quietly under the tile in bathrooms and kitchens all over the world. So the next time you step out of bed onto a warm floor on a cold morning and feel that little wave of comfort, that is not a modern invention. You are standing on a Roman one. That is the everyday equation. I will see you in the